Hi, I'm Graham. Thanks, Fergus, for the opportunity to speak at Amaze. I'm in second year now of my PhD at QMU, and I'm will be recruiting in February next year for data gathering at the end of April and at QMU. So I'll be publicising in February. If you're interested, look out for publicity at that time or email me. I'm happy to share my email. Um, My PhD is, as Fergus has said, it's an inquiry into social communication by an autistic researcher. I'm autistic and identify as neurodivergent. And there's a certain amount of research by medical professionals, by um, uh, doctors, psychiatrists, and so on, looking at autistic communication, but very little actually by autistic people. So it kind of it's what we call survivor research. So it's nothing about us without us. And so what can I bring from my own experience reflexively to the research? Judy Singer she coined the term neurodiversity in 97, and she said specifically it's a disability of social communication. We're at a place where we want to look beyond disability to the social model and to say that um, uh, this is a difference and not a deficit. But how can we unpack this a little bit? And my answer is to look at language. There's a wee Japanese guy called Naoki Higashida, who wrote a book called The Reason I Jump. And he says it's like he has to speak an unknown foreign language every minute of every day. Um, Barry Prezant says it's like learning a second language. So we get the theme, this is about language. It's what language are we speaking? Um, I believe that autistic neurodivergent people communicate differently because we construct meaning differently. Therefore, the research question is how does autistic sense making in conversation contrast with expected or a typical norm? For I'm a scientist, a psychologist, and what I'm doing is comparing. So I have two groups, one of autistic people, one of non-autistic people, and I compare them. It's not quantitative, and I'm not doing number crunching. I'm just comparing qualitatively. So it's interpretivism. I'm looking for meaning. I'm using drama role plays of social connectivity, and I'll be using some pretty fancy tech in the QMU boardroom to get a kind of audio-visual transcript to analyze as my discourse. Um, so what am I doing? I think what I'm doing is um, I'm comparing the idea of sensory knowledge, like I really feel this, with linguistic reasoning, which is I really think this. So I really feel to I really think. And how do we make that kind of bridge to I really feel this is true, but how can I articulate that? What we need to do is to look at language. And to do that, we need to look specifically, I believe, at attribution. So, with all due respect to Dinah Murray, I had to get her in there somewhere. Monotropism is fantastic. It's the idea of an attentional tunnel. It's the visual metaphor is the difference between looking through a telescope to standing by a bright window. But I want to go beyond the visual metaphor and to look at how do we comprehend contrast as salience, as importance. Why is this really interesting? Because that's inherent meaning. That's the bit I'm looking to get. You can find that in Dinah Murray's work of interest stream in Milton's Reader. Um, the philosophy is Habermas. Is these are what we call second order attributes. It's not what do you think, but is what do I think that you think? And that's looking at intersubjectivity. It's more than just I feel subjective congruence. It's about how do I think you feel. So it's a kind of bridge. And that that sort of contradicts the psychiatry that is Baron Cohen, that he called it a Sally Ann test. And that's the kind of idea of false belief. I believe that autistic people can bridge the false belief thing by sharing mutuality. Um, so it all situates as advocacy. So groups like this are about saying, um, what do we need in a conversation to understand and be understood? Because if we can figure that out, then we can say, do you know, when I go to this meeting, I need what? What do I need? What do I need to preface? It's like if you're an actor, you need a script. Do you know, what do I need to bring to a conversation in order to understand and be understood? Okay. That's me. Like I said, I'm recruiting in February for the data gathering at the end of April. So I'll publicize it then. If you're interested, do get involved.